Preschool. This is when the fun of learning officially begins. So the question is, what kind of curriculum do you use? Do you even use a curriculum? What you do is totally up to you, your kiddo, your family, your style. But here's what we will be using this next school year. If you're new here, I'm Rian, a Christ-following wife and a homeschool mom to 3 boys. Here we talk all things homeschool, and we will learn together how to use our roles as wife, mom, teacher, and homemaker in order to glorify God. Preschool is one of my absolute favorite stages thus far in raising my kiddos. So I was a preschool teacher before I was a stay-at-home mom, and I loved it so much. Then at our co-op, I taught preschool for several years, and that's just really like my wheelhouse. I love, love, love that age. Everything is still really fun and hands-on, and there's so many light bulb moments that happen in preschool, that 3 and 4 stage. And in addition to that, they are still so easily wowed by everything. Everything is new and bright to them. Everything is just amazing to them, and I love that. So when I was thinking of choosing a curriculum for this year, I wanted something that was fun, engaging, not super rigorous, but still started laying that good foundation for kindergarten. Now, before I share what I actually chose, I am going to lay a big, fat disclaimer here. This is especially for you mamas who this is your first kiddo, you haven't taught preschool before, you haven't raised any kiddos, homeschooled before, or maybe you're just now pulling your kids out, whatever the case may be, but especially for you first-time preschool homeschool moms. 1, you don't have to have a curriculum at all. I know plenty of moms who don't even do any curriculum until kindergarten, so it's fine. 2, what I'm gonna share with you is a lot, and I know it's a lot, okay? So keep in mind, we're not gonna do every single part of all of these that I'm going to show you. And also, we have brothers. My son has brothers who will help him. So what usually happens in my house is when I sit down to do any sort of learning activity with a 3-year-old, I'll set my older boys up to do some of their independent work at the table, and in about 4 seconds, all eyes are turned off their work and on to me because they want to be engaged in this preschool stuff. And I'm like, you guys are in 2nd and 4th grade. Like, you don't need to learn your colors and your shapes and your letters. So I'm going to take advantage of that though. So this year, what we're going to do, this upcoming year, is yes, there's going to be time when I sit down with my preschooler, the big kids are going to be doing their thing, but there's also going to be times when I'm going to be working with one of my older sons, and the other one's going to come over with his little preschool brother and is going to be helping me with these curriculums, because these curriculum are so easy. It's very read a book, talk about this, do this activity. It's nothing rigorous or demanding at all. And so they'll get to have fun helping him out, and he will stay busy. So that's another thing. If you have a toddler or a preschooler who is just very content in playing, I don't feel like you need as much. My 3rd son is not that way. He does not like to be alone. So even if we're at the table and he's sitting right, on the floor next to us, he feels left out. He wants someone engaging with him at all times. Now we are working to build up that stamina, being able to play independently, but part of that's just his personality. He's a people person, so he likes to be around other kiddos, or me. And so this is a lot, but it's not because I think he needs this much to be able to be ready for kindergarten in 2 years. It's simply because he's just that busy and he likes doing stuff like this. So this isn't what you have to do by any means. The first thing I'm going to be using is actually written by my friend Rachel over at 7 and All. I will link her channel up above. You want to go check her out if you do not know her already. She is super sweet. She lives overseas and is from a missionary family and was homeschooled herself. So she's a 2nd-generation homeschooler. She helps homeschool her younger siblings, and she is brilliant. I love her to death. I know her outside of YouTube, and she has written her own preschool curriculum. So what I love about this is it's written into units. It's called Purely Preschool, and they are about month-long units, so about 4 weeks per unit, and they are so inexpensive, you guys. So affordable for any budget. So these are pretty seasonally based, which is also super fun. So the first one is spring, which we are getting ready to start this week actually, since we're still in spring. And it is literature based. So you're going to be reading lots of good picture books, and she has the picture books written in here. So you can go find them, or even better, if you cannot find them or don't feel like finding them at the library or thrift books or wherever you do your book shopping, she has the links to YouTube videos of other people reading them, which is super cool for some of those harder to find books especially. So each week you will be focusing on a different subject. So for spring, you have chicks, gardens, rabbits, and rain. And so those are the 4 springtime things you'll be learning. She has a sample schedule of how you could break this up for 5 days. And she even says in here, this is not how you have to do it. Do it however it works for you. This curriculum takes very minimal prep, very minimal supplies. So it's mostly stuff you already have on hand. And if not, she puts the supply list right up front so you know what to expect. So what she does is each little subject, she has a story time part where she tells you what book she'll be reading, a talk about it section, which tells you, kind of gives you a guide on things to discuss with your preschooler. She has an alphabet activity, an early math activity, a playtime activity, music suggestions, and a science activity. Then she has motor skills, life skills, health and safety, love homework, which is kind of cool. It deals with relationships a lot within your home, which is really awesome. And then she has a weekly Bible verse and then just some extra things thrown in there. And so you can do all of it. You can do just parts of it. It's super flexible on however you want to do it. But that schedule at the beginning shows you how you could break it up if you do want it to span over the course of a week. But you could easily do this in 3 or 4 days if you wanted to, because it is not super intensive. It's a lot of repetition, which is super, super good for those younger ages especially. And then there's also the actual activity sheets in here that you will need for each of the activities. So things like that they can cut out, and she'll go in here and tell you how to use them all. Now there are some really pretty pieces of artwork and stuff that she included in there. I personally did not print them because I was afraid the quality would not be very good on my printer. So we're just going to use my iPad for those and just pull them up on there. But there's lots of memorization, just basic life skill memorization, like after I play, I pick up my toys. Simple things like that that are super important for little kids to know. So that is the first part of our curriculum, and that honestly would be enough. But like I said, I have a very busy 3-year-old who just needs more right now, mostly for my sanity, not because he actually needs more. I need him to have more to stay busy. And so the second thing we'll be using, I don't have it in yet, but we are going to be using Sonlight's new preschool curriculum. It's similar to the purely preschool program in that it is also literature based. So we'll be doing lots and lots of reading. Good thing is he has 2 older brothers that can also read to him, so I don't have to do it all. But then they focus a little more on the ABCs, 1, 2, 3s, and shapes, colors, things like that. Rachel's program touches on that, but that's not her main focus. Her main focus is life skills and good books and just relationship type stuff with your children, which I love. But just to keep him a little more busy, I'm going with Sonlight also to give him more of those kind of hands-on learning the alphabet, counting things, that kind of stuff. If you buy the whole set, which I'm not going to because I like to do things more cheaply, if you buy the whole set, you'll get the instructor's guide, all of your readers that you will need for the year, which includes a Bible reader. And then you will also get this activity set that has textured numbers and letters. It has like a shape puzzle. It has grippy colored pencils, has bingo markers, safety scissors, a clipboard, all these things. And so I'm trying to decide if I need to buy that or if I can just kind of use stuff that we already have around the house. I haven't quite decided on that yet. But this is basically the same thing, but it leans a lot more toward the ABCs and 1, 2, 3s. There is a number of the week, a letter of the week, stuff like that. And then the last thing we'll be using, again, I know this is a lot, so if this is way too much, don't use this much. I actually would recommend most people don't use this much. And let it be known that we are not going to do every part of all of these curriculums every time. Like, we're just going to do it naturally as it flows. I'm just giving him a lot of stuff that we can fill his time with if need be. And we're just going to rotate between me and his brothers who's actually doing it with him. The last thing we'll be using is CLE's beginner activity set for preschoolers. CLE is Christian Light Education, in case you didn't know. And these are just 4 workbooks that are super, super inexpensive. They're like less than $3 a piece. And they are progressively harder as you go on. This first one is called About 3, and it's all about visual comparison and drawing lines. The second one is Bigger Steps, which is more advanced visual comparison, as well as matching. Then the third one is Color, Count, and Cut, where there is colors and numbers, obviously some cutting. And then Doing My Best is more for that 4 turning 5 stage, and it has kind of all of that stuff at just a more advanced level. So these are things that I want him to have so that he has workbooks, because he really likes when his brothers are doing school, like doing worksheets and stuff. He likes to be handed something to make him feel like he's part of whatever they're doing. And so when I'm needing everyone to sit at the table and kind of focus, I can give him one of these workbooks and he can be learning stuff, but mostly just staying busy, like I said. So if you want to see what we are using next year for my 3rd and 5th grader, I'll have some iCards throughout this video, and also I will link the videos down below to those curriculum pick videos. Once again, you do not need 3 curriculums for a 3-year-old, so don't walk away with that from this video. You can do as little or as much as you want, but maybe this just gave you some ideas to think on. Let me know in a comment down below, what are you planning to use next year for homeschool for your preschooler? Or maybe what have you used in the past if you've already passed that preschool age? Please subscribe if you haven't already, and be on the lookout. Our next video is all about relationships. It's a biblical womanhood video, so you won't want to miss it. Talk to you next time.